We recently learned that Michael Cohen is the latest former Trump ally who has spoken with the special counsel's team. Emily Jane Fox reported in Vanity Fair on Friday that Cohen has bristled at the feeling that he's taken the fall for a man who has refused to take any responsibility or face any consequence himself. In conversations with Mueller's team, he's making good on what he told ABC earlier this summer, that his loyalty to Trump is no longer his lodestar. Donnie, we haven't seen you since Emily Jane Fox reported on Friday that Michael Cohen was now likely talking to Robert Mueller. What do you know?
Yeah, well, I know two things. That emotionally things shifted for Trump right after, for Michael after Helsinki. And he, at that moment, beyond himself, was like, this guy can't be in this position. I got to do everything possible, not only to help myself, but to save the country. Why I believe
from Trump.
Why I believe, and I don't know, this is my speculation, why he's very deep in Mueller land right now. About a week and a half ago, his entire dynamic with me changed. We used to speak every day, Michael, in very in-depth fashion. And suddenly in the last week or so, in a very respectful way, he's kind of, the texts and conversations have gotten a bit more distant, which tells me that Mueller has said to him, look, we're at the grown-ups table now, and I don't care, you're best friends, you're this, you're talking to nobody. And so I see a very different tenor in the way Michael is communicating with me in the last week or so, which tells me, and once again, this is just my prognostication, that he is very, very involved with Mueller, because I know he was very anxious to work and help with Mueller.
There's some speculation that he may be helping in all the federal investigations, the one at the Southern District of New York, the one at the grand juries that are convened in Washington, D.C. Any sense that he's traveled or he's been out of town?
I remember he said to me one week, I have a weird week coming up, and that's what he said to me. I don't know what that meant, but I can promise you, in any way that Michael can help, he will be helping for two reasons: to protect his family, and he does feel a sense of country at this point. Not only does he feel betrayed, he feels that Trump has betrayed all of us.
So you don't think it's just to get leniency for himself? You think he's actually trying to save the country?
I think there's both. Clearly, he's trying to help himself. Anybody would in that instance. But I also think there's a moral imperative behind it. He's not just a guy trying to cut a deal. He realizes he's in a unique position to kind of save us from this lunatic in there.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.